Elsa, it's always good to give it a moment anyway for the feed to be streaming across. So I like to give it like 30 seconds before I do a real hard introduction, or in your case, light, because you have such a beautiful voice. You're so calming to talk to. You really are. You're blessed with a very, very sweet voice. So,
Thank you.
good day, everybody. You're welcome. Good day, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. And I usually don't do afternoon shows, middle of the night shows with people, but that's the way this one's going to go. Our guest today is Elsa Dillon. She is a mother of 8 children. Wow. You look so tiny from here, but 8 children. That's a lot of work. You've done a lot of work. And married to Richard for many years. And I believe you had your first sighting of an encounter in 1978, and the story started to unfold for you as a contactee, abductee. I mean, abducting your life and within your life, and however that is. I'll allow you to try to express on that and share more with everybody. She's also on the other side of the world. She lives in the future. So if you say we don't live in the present, the now, and in the future, well, she's sitting in Australia, down in the Oz, and they are actually Monday. And right here where I am in America, we are Sunday. So imagine that. There is something there that maybe we should think about more. But anyway, I'm very happy to have you. I got a lot of questions. Maybe you'll have input. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. We don't know everything, but I'm fascinated to know what we understand about language and informations and the things that you're about to share with us. So if it's all good on your side and there's not too much noise background, you can reconnect your microphone and I'll allow you to start and say hi.
Thank you for the great introduction. Yeah, mother of 8. My husband and I were both fashion photographers. That's how we met. So we would travel the world and, meeting some amazing people, really. And going to some quite amazing locations that the public aren't always allowed to, venture into.
Mm-hmm.
Richard was based in New York and London, so he lived there. So he was around all the supermodels and Seal and Bono and Trump and all that era.
Mm-hmm.
I was more back here and I'd fly out from Australia. And Richard's got 10 years on me in the photography, so he's got 2 decades ahead of me. When I met Richard, I had probably my biggest NDE. Was the day before I got severely electrocuted. And it's interesting because you always think, why is this happening? Why did this happen? Why did this happen the day before I met him? Why? And then as you get into this understanding of your role as a soul here, you find the path unravels, which is what's happened since I met Richard in 97. He felt a calling to find me and meet me, which is just even that alone is quite bizarre. He was previously married to an Elsa. I've never met an Elsa or an Elsa, but he was married to one in the States. So, yeah, only for a short time. As a child, growing up, I was always not suppressed, but told not to be the fullest. Don't do that. Hold back. Wait, no. This was a common thing for me. Which is okay. I used to get a lot of ringing in my ears. This caused another NDE when I was little. I nearly got taken out by a car. Or I did get taken out by a car. Still to this day. Who knows if it hit me or not. But it turned out to be connected to a few of the craft experiences we've had later on in life. So what's interesting with, sorry, I'm jumping back and forward with timelines. That's funny because that's how we started the show. your future, is this is what's happened is a lot of the time will something will happen now and then it zaps you back to a memory.
Mm-hmm.
And we call this moment collecting. Some people call it time travel. So you can go back and collect info from there and pull it forward through and use it as a tool. We found the best ways to do this is by having a clean vessel, temple, avatar, body, whatever you want to call it, shell, hull, ship.
Right.
And so for the first, we have cycles. We believe there's cycles, so 7-year cycles. First cycles with Richard, we were cleaning up our act, getting healthier, getting rid of a few things from 3D world that was unnecessary, like cutting back on insurances and cutting back on this and cutting back on that. Things that were making us work harder for no reason, all those sort of things. Finding, and we would believe that enjoying your life rather than working to enjoy your life. So we sort of work that way. Richard's and used to be Australian champion motocross. He's also an amazing chess player, amazing. And and then he went into photography. When I met him, I asked him to teach me how to ride a motorbike, so I learned how to motocross as well, so that was fun. So we had this part of our life. We had boating in our life, a lot of water. And we brought up the kids differently. We started having children. There was no plan to have children, by the way. I don't think anyone plans to have 8 children, but we just went with it. And we brought them up differently. We didn't bring them up how we were. Society was bringing children up, so it was a bit of we were the odd ones all the time. We were the odd ones, the different ones. But people were still, even though we were the odd ones, they liked being around us. So we knew that we were on path.
Right.
But it creates conflict when you're always being the different one. So there's a lot of boundaries and letting others go on their way. It can feel pretty lonely. I think this is a common thing that a lot of people feel. A lot of times I did feel lonely in the family as well, as the more happenings would happen, especially with a couple of the ET encounters. It not only is an experience and a happening, but it shapeshifts you. It changes you. You just spoke of one of yourself and you got a marking. It can mark you.
Right.
And that's what it's meant to do. Not in a harmful way, but it's meant to mark you so you shift, so you change, so
right.
You have an alteration. I had our first encounters were not with ETs. They were with electricity. And electricity, again, with Richard, electricity woke me up. It woke our whole family up, kind of thing. And that was through EMF, radiation poisoning we got for 2 of our children. And they were kind of like in this dying process from it. And we couldn't work out why. And then we kept having electrical shortages through the house. I'm asking for help from the universe, and the universe is going, I'm trying to tell you, we're shorting out your house. We're shorting out your house, once or twice a day. Anyway, one night it blew up, and I learned about EMF. I learned about angels. I learned about ETs. I learned about ghosts, how they all connect through electricity, water, mist, fog, glass. And then, it hit us that maybe they're looking after us up there. Maybe they're trying to help us with our children. So we learn about EMF, take the children away from the meter box. They start healing. 2 weeks later, I have a calling from this being. And this being is where I usually lose a lot of the audience. So if you have to go, I understand. If I irritate, that's cool. It was a Egyptian bust, and I didn't know who exactly the bust was, but I knew it from my childhood. My father was born in Egypt, and as an immigrant, he came out with his brother. And when they came over here, they lost all his luggage off the ship. It you know how they bring it over in the net? It dropped, so he saw all his luggage fall in Sydney Harbour. But his brother's suitcase had a bit of his stuff in it, and that was the only thing my father had was the bust of Nefertiti. So that was the only thing my father had from Egypt. And he had it in the house as a child, and I could feel her as a child. And anyway, so going forward in time now, we're in 2012. We've just had this EMF explosion 2 weeks ago. Now I'm in the mirror doing my hair, and now some voice is talking to me through the mirror, and I've gone, Richard's like, you've been breastfeeding too long, babe. you've lost it. I'm like, no, this is not leaving me alone. So then you go through the whole, am I schizophrenic?
What was like that? What was like that to hear? Was it by ear through your vessel or mind speaking, like telepathy?
At first, it was like an echo through the mirror. So, like I would look in the mirror and then see tunnels in the mirror, like how you would possibly see walking through pyramid walkways. I could see that in my pupil, in my eye, and I was going, what's going on? I'm getting sucked into this, like, and then it came through as an echo, because this takes time for it to start manifesting deeper in you, and then it's good because I've never spoken about this before, this particular moment that you're talking about, so it's good for me to relive this. So I would go in and it would echo and it would shudder on each wall. And this is actually one of the healing practices the ancient Egyptians would do. So the vibration would come and then it would hit me like you see in those movies where the ghost or the tsunami hits you.
Mm-hmm.
When it would hit me, after that feeling of it hitting me, then it was like it was in all my cells in my body. So I wasn't hearing an audio and I wasn't seeing it. Now it's in me. So now I'm thinking it's a being entering me. So I'm going through all that stuff as well. Anyway, what I realized is it wasn't anything evil. It wasn't anyone taking me over. I was always me. It was a sharing. It was a give, and it started to become a give and a take. So I would communicate back and forth the energy like this. And we found that through our day-to-day, so I'm a mum and I'm, doing our day-to-day things. We're doing things in the local town and things. She would help shift me around and steer me around things. Don't go this way, talk to that person, like just hints, just hints, little messages. And I think this part of the process was to show that we're on par, we're working together here. We're not, there's no negativity, there's no out to get anyone or out to hurt or harm anyone or take anything from anyone. This is a great process.
Yeah, sounds like a gift in a way. And I heard things in the past about mirrors and voodooism and just an immense, not a month, an immense amount of storytelling and things. And some people believe that they're open portals, and maybe that's kind of a scenario of what you were experiencing, and whether we can actually analyze why or what it is, we probably can't. I mean, you would be the expert there because you were the one picking it apart as you were learning about it. So thank you for sharing that part. You know, and I can understand how it can be hard where people might, prejudge something that you're going through, but only to share it with people about what truly was happening in your life. And maybe the electricity puts us on guard in a different way. I never really think about, me personally, the properties of electricity. We know it through experiments, they can do great things, energies and so forth, and they can fluctuate and create this and cause that. And I zapped myself a few times in life. So maybe that's where some of my answers lie. And maybe for others that we don't understand, that we somehow self start something in us by getting that boost. That's just, it's something to consider, something to think about. That's pretty impressive in a weird way, but in a good way. No, I mean, I gotta call it the way I feel it when it comes out of my mouth. But I'm on your side. I believe in wanting to understand and know the most that we can about what this is all about. So you're going to take us a little bit into that path too. I wanted to ask you, as you're going and you're experiencing these particular types of things, seeing crafts, having weirdness around you, the mirror, and the messages start coming to you. Is that when the enlightenment starts to occur, to where you're trying to formalize an easement in your life and path, and the ability to try to help people consciously and share with them messages? Is it really about messages for us, the humanity?
All right, so electricity is a form of healing. This is a thing. They don't publicize it because they don't want everyone going around and getting electrocuted. It's a huge, like a parasite cleanse in you. So a lot of people who become electrocuted have awakenings after this.
Okay.
And so that's one thing. The mirrors, I used to see ghosts in mirrors all the time as a child growing up. And so did Richard. He didn't admit to it, but I know he's the same. And portholes and other things. It's where your pupils meet your pupils. So you become your own teacher and student. So there's something in that. There's something in it. This is why they had in this famous nursery rhyme, mirror, mirror on the wall. This is why they did it. This is why she communicated there, because she could channel through it. This is the reasoning. She would ask, who's the fairest of them all, is because who's the enlightened one. It's not about beauty at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would, before this encounter with the mirror, up until that day, I would hide from mirrors. So I'd do my hair as long as all the lights were on, but a mirror in the house or at somewhere, I would duck because I could see way too much, and I was scared.
Interesting.
I was scared of ghosts. I've seen Hollywood films, and I would hear that Hollywood music coming through, and I would see all those scary dolls, and so I just didn't want to go there. I didn't want to address it.
Could that have been suggestion of thought and self manifestation, that you were creating the element like a medium would? Not to say that anybody's off base here. I mean, mediums are able to do certain things, and they all practice a different way to have an ability to be able to deliver a function of what they do. Do you think that you're somewhat in between some of those things? Because it sounds like you could possibly be
Such
one.
such a good word. And I'm going to say the word that I'm resonating with in that is in between.
Mm.
In being between the paths. So I'm like in between the paths. I can just go in between the paths. And
Hmm.
this is why I can go through so many different angles of mediumship or whatever you want to call it, is because I can go through. It's something to do also with me having 8 children. I've downloaded their 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 essence as well. So they've literally gone through the mothership, the
Right.
birth, the
Right.
birthing, the docs, right? Uh,
So in a way, you're describing the energy of consciousness from them to you, sharing together, one
yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So also in this, so when you give birth as a female, you give up a lot. You do. You just give up a lot. It's not saying that women are greater than men or anything like this, but you do. You give over yourself. They become another entity in you. I would take on their personality. I would take on the foods they like. There was foods that our children love. I cannot stand the food, but I would eat it while I was pregnant. And Richard found this fascinating. Like mangoes, I never liked mangoes, but when I had Gemma, that's all I would eat, and I was like a monster. I would eat boxes and boxes of mangoes, and I wouldn't let anyone else eat them. But you put a mango in front of me now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
So you know, I was, I was fully in the moment of that.
Right.
But back then, so you hear me talking about it now, but I didn't realize I was doing that. I just was in such an allowing state, but I didn't realize I was in an allowing state. So,
Right.
but now I can reflect back. I go, oh yeah, I was. That's why this was able to happen. This is why this was able to happen, because I was always in an allowing state.
Right. And that's that shape shifting.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
occurs just in the same function where, shape shifting is actually real. You're shaping your life, don't even realize that you're playing a party to it, but it's in ways it must be necessary to live through it. It's like getting from the start of the product and getting to the end of the product, and you got to step on all that stuff and deal with it every until you get to that. The problem is there a that there, or does it continue somehow? But I like how you describe it, especially with the mirror, mirror on the wall, because yeah, I call some things the Oz effect. The Wizard of Oz might not be what you're thinking it really is, and symbols and so forth, and they're right in front of us, being thrown in our faces. And you have music by Rush 100001, and then you have incident reports of like with Randlesham, where the guy wrote on a piece of paper all these zeros and ones and zeros and one zeros and and I know you reflected some of that too, as the numerology of I guess maybe possibly language, description of language.
So yeah, the it's that you said something. You said so you have all this stuff, and then you want to know, is there that, like the next thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say a big yes. And
Oh, okay.
this has happened to us just since Valentine's Day this year. The hugest confirmation I've ever had in my life. And then I meet you.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm nothing special, but
Well, to
I
you, you're saying that, but to me, I go, well, you're a gift. And the reason I'm saying this is because where you're based is on the root of part of this confirmation. And I didn't realize how important this path is where where the eclipse is coming through.
okay.
Yeah. So, and this realization really has been since the middle of February, hitting me every day, getting bigger and bigger. And it's going. It's not that that is the final point. It's just that to that moment, and then after that comes the more that's. So
Maybe
it's
it's an
just
influx of our energies meeting somehow that we don't totally understand why it's that way. But I'm glad to be a party to this for you, and I'm just as happy to have you as you are to have me. And who knows, maybe this meant to be factor will be something that's meant to be, that the universe will say, hey, now you need to do this and this is going to happen for you. And we don't totally understand it all, but we learn it all as we take the path and we open ourselves to more things. I try to always stay open. I want to be perfectly clear there. Sometimes I hear things and it's like, but you know what, I think just to give it that factor is the point of how we reflect to finding the answers we search for or that we seek for. People talk about that higher level of concentration and getting to a new level of reset. And sometimes I wonder, is reset really what the objective is about? I mean, because of so much of everything that we deal with in life. How do you feel about that? I mean, do you think because now that we met, our lives are going to change differently? Because I like to stay in touch with people, and a lot of people that I talk and have good discussions with seem to separate themselves in ways. I wish it didn't happen, but it does occur. Maybe I'm that stepping stone to help people because I know I've got people to other places and other formats. But how do you feel about that?
Well, you carry an important name. So you carry my father's name, Michael, which is Mahali, which is Michael's one of the angel names, and it's also we class Michaels as bridges. We've come across many Michaels, and they always bridge people. They bridge many.
Gotcha.
So they're great arcs. We always class them as the great arcs.
Hmm.
Sometimes they don't know they're doing it either. Like some of these things we say, people have no idea what they're doing. They're just doing it on default, or they're trusting their innate. They're just doing it. They don't know why they're doing things. They're just doing it. Some people are fully conscious of it. It doesn't matter as long as you're doing it. Reset is if I go, because I go to the root words of everything because it helps me. The root word of reset is soul act. To me, this is the whole purpose that we're here, is to be soul and to act, or to be see and to see act. So you see yourself, you're the witness. You're always seeing, you're acting and the witness, the acting, the witness. So there's something great about, it's all great about doing mediumship or spiritual things, but if you're not in act, like if you're only doing it in meditation,
Hmm.
you're you're not completing the whole cycle.
Okay.
Yeah, and
You
this
got to
is
live it
one.
as well.
Yeah, you got to walk it. You have to walk it in your day
Right.
to day. It's not, and this is what we encourage many to do is um, have acts of acknowledgement, acts of power. If you have the power of observation, then act something. It doesn't mean that you have to do anything for anyone. It could be as beautiful as carving some wood,
Hmm.
and this is an act, a great act. And this is what we say to the children. You don't have to do it like I do it. You don't have to do anything. You can just, but you act, how you act. So you see yourself, how you act. So you're arcing in yourself, and then your arcs out to others. So you become our king, our king. This is,
Yeah.
it's all in the words. It's quite
Right.
playful.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's where Jordan Maxwell was so brilliant too. And you're
He's
going down that
brilliant.
same
Yeah.
type of path. I learned a lot from observating him, watching him, shooting a couple emails. One thing I'll say, was always kind enough to get back to everybody, at least the way I seen it, he was. But what a great teacher of understanding things. But it wasn't that he went into the just his own mindset to figure out things. In my viewpoint of him, not that he's the topic of discussion here. It's the fact that he did do research through religions and theologies and different scenarios of meanings and everything. And maybe that's the same type of path too, because you're reflecting to the fact of a conscious contact of an ancient, of somebody that is also trying to spiritually connect within you, that help, I guess in ways it's helping to guide you. So you're being influenced in that manner. And I always say we got to go back to the past to understand. And as we act and react, as you said, living in that type of scenario of life that takes you through the steps, no matter how bad or how good they are, to get to the next level of everything that we got to get through. It affects consciousness for me at times, But at the same time, I think it teaches me every day. Because even if I go to bed saying to myself, I didn't quite understand what today was about, I wake up tomorrow and I understand it, you know? It's giving ourselves that time, that relapse of time to maybe uh, get our own cycle caught up.
So through this through this process that you've just described, the way I would explain it to the children, because our children have been doing this from very young. They're all experiences, by the way. So the whole family. So the way I would explain it to the children is something would happen, and they'd say why, and I say, well, maybe you're just not meant to know yet. Maybe it's just got to sit in you. So it literally manifests in your ions. So now we're going more to a physics term. So you're vibrating like this, and then something new, like something alien, comes into you,
Yeah.
energy, intelligence, whatever you want to call it, and then it throws you off a bit or tires you out or makes you have more energy, and then you let it sit in you. So it's like letting the waters calm in your body, and then when you need it, it will come. And this is another, when you need things, they will arise. Ask and you shall receive, which is what you described. You
Yeah,
did.
kind
You
of like the
asked and you
deja.
received.
Is it kind of like the deja vu moment where you realize in your mind, ah, this is what it was all about?
Yeah, the aha.
Now's the answer. Now, here's the answer. And yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people may not like, hey, this is not exactly the kind of conversation talk I thought it was going to be. But you know what? It's where it's supposed to be. That's what's important. And I hope people understand that and can reflect to that. As they, especially as they listen to the conversations that we're sharing together right now. But can you? I think a lot of people, you know, because there's such this wide audience for UFOs and abductees and experiences. Is there anything out of all the ones that you went through that stick out the most that you would like to mention right now, or could mention for the audience when they get to hear this, whether it's today, right now, tomorrow, into the future week, or 200 years from now when they say, ah, these guys were really working hard to prove the points of the existences and what humanity meant.
Uh, a lot of
You think?
the we had one. We had ones. This is a big one because this word is thrown around a lot. Is reptilian, and we had this one come through when my back was broken by a horse. Two hind legs broke my back,
Oh,
and
wow.
I couldn't walk. I was out, and this being came through for myself, and she was 17 at the time, a 17-year-old daughter, and this reptilian being kept coming through on her phone, and her phone had no battery, and it was turned off, and the phone would turn on and play this "I'm a Reptilian" song, which I didn't even know of this song, and neither did she. And she said she was offended, like she's been having ET contact, but she was felt intruded by this being. That this being really was literally calling. Like they're quite playful how they come through for our family. I think because also we've been in an allowing state. We're not in scared state, so everything seems quite entertaining for us now. Anyway, so this being kept coming through, and so Gigi, her name is, comes in and says, "Mum, look, I know you're in pain, but this keeps happening on my phone. How is this possible? Look, no battery. How is this phone turning on?" And she said, "This has been happening all day and it's driving me nuts. What do I do?" And I said, well you're going to have to address whoever's trying to get in touch with you. And she said, "Well, they're kind of making me mad." And I said, "Well, can you, have a cup of tea, rise above it, go for a walk, play with a kitten, get over the anger side of it, the emotion side of it. Maybe this is just part of their energy that comes through."
Hmm.
Anyway, she said, "Well, I don't want to deal with a reptilian." I said, "Well, maybe it's not what you think. Maybe, don't listen to what everything you've heard on, media. Go into it, our version of it." Anyway, so I'm out still on the floor, out. Anyway, I remember coming back to, and she had started drawing this being, and the being's spectacular looking and proud, and not anything like I've seen a reptilian at all. The intelligence in this being is superior. It rattles you when it comes in, though, the energy of this being. They're great healers, and this being came through to help assist my back, the healing process. Anyway, she brought the being over to show me, and instantly I'm able to speak and channel with her. At this point, I wasn't able to speak much because I was in so much pain. I couldn't even get words out, but when this being came through, I could channel what... And this being was called House Door. That's what House Door. And I said, okay. He kept saying, "You're reptilian." I'm going, hang on. Let's see. I know we have reptilian in us, in our brain. So he started showing us, every family member, how much reptilian we have in each of us, in a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And then he showed us how much reptilian he had in him. And 2 family members had a little bit more than him. And he was doing this to show like a safety net, that we could communicate with him, that it was okay. He wanted us to understand that we were safe. And it wasn't what we thought. And then he showed me, as soon as I got over that, I was like, that's bizarre. Then he started showing me how to heal my back. And I have to say, I was able to start making moves. So now they're sending us healing practices and showing us how that you can heal your body through their practices. So this reptilian being did not come through how we've seen reptilian. So when you hear of a being or an ET and their experience from somebody else, you got to understand there's so many versions. There's thousands and thousands. There's many stars you see, there's many versions. But if we're all watching the same Hollywood films and we're all watching the same TV, of course, if a being comes through, we are all going to see a similar version, because we've all tapped into this was the reason they created Hollywood. This is the reason they create movies. This is the reason they create visuals, which is a word you just posted, illusions.
You're right. I did.
You posted that word.
I look at
ions.
things different, but I do. I look at things different because I want people to be aware of them. And you know what? It's like good cop, bad cop, as you say, too, why they create Hollywood and what some of these scenarios were. But more importantly, why was it everything like this put in place? This is all taking us to a level of something. But when the illusion is different within every person, and it is, the way I look at it, go back to good cop, bad cop scenario thing, where they can take 3 people at different times, asking them to see the same incident, and all 3 of them have a different story. What type of UFO? They're all going to describe it different in some mannerism, and then it's the good cop, bad cop working together to try to fit the pieces of the puzzle together, even though they were trying to compromise the story just to see if there was basic fact involved, So I look at things, as illusions till the credibility can step forward from it.
Well, so illusion is, so the first breakdown of it is ill, us, ions. This is the first breakdown of it. So what we then, when you keep clearing this, the word ill, it becomes will, ill, will, well is a body of water. So again, we believe there's always 2 sides to everything. So an illusion can make us, our ions, ill, but you can also, once you understand the language and the root words of all of those words, you can spin it around. So this is why we say, our business name is called Spin Beings. We say you can spin it around. This is what we believe we're doing. We're re-spinning the matrix now. And I know this word's overused as well, but matrix is mothers being tricked. This is what it is to us in our family. This is what we believe the word is. So now we're re-spinning this now to spin our ions differently. So we've all been spinning this way, and now we're unraveling it this way. And some people are unraveling it really fast. Some have been unraveling it for a while, and it's just like our atoms, like this. And the more we unravel together, like in shows like this, we lift the super intelligence of the others. Whether they choose to be lifted or not, they will come along. This is how it works.
There's just no choice. It's
no.
There's
Yeah.
there's a higher purpose. And at times it makes me wonder even on why and how that is. But it's a construct that we don't understand, and I don't know if it's the intelligence of the universe as a quantum or above system, mathematical system of somehow that it works for us in our movements and our thoughts, and it gives the gift of that next element of the step. I don't know. Does that make any sense to you? I kind of look at it that way. That's me. That's the Michael vision.
You called it the stuff, right? What's the stuff? Okay, so the stuff is the intelligence. It's the essence. It's the dust. It's the spice. It's the tar. Now, I go on about this a lot in all my interviews and shows and stuff because tar is frozen mud on the meteors and the comets, and that holds plasma intelligence. So it's got hydrogen, water, frozen water around it, and inside that is it's like a time capsule. The tar is in it. This is the spice. It's the dust. You see it in the movie June. You see it in the Golden Compass. They were scared of it. They tried to hide it from their civilizations. The dust is intelligence. It's the star seeds. So this dust comes in and rains down on us and upgrades us. This is why it has peak times too. The peak time of this is March, May. This is why May is called May, because May means great. So they would fast. They would fast all the parasites out of them through Easter. Easter. This Easter. So they would parasite cleanse, getting their temple, their avatar, their ship ready for the coming of the tar. The tar rains down on them from many different meteor showers, and then they get upgraded to a higher breed. If you have too many parasites and viruses in you, which is ancient alien DNA, if you have too many in you, they override the host. So you can't download all the information correctly, or you misinterpret it because there's more than the original code in there.
Wow, it sounds almost like an injection.
It is, well,
yeah, I don't want to go there, but yeah, you
no.
get where I'm coming from. And it makes sense too. I mean, if you even look at like what's going on right now, what you're sharing, a lot of people may not connect this, but if we connect the dots a little bit further, next month on April on the 8th, we're going to have this eclipse, and at the same time, it's recognized where the plagues and the sicknesses will come down upon from the heavens. So there's speculation when you get into ancient writings and so forth too, and I wonder if they correlate together somehow, because people are starting, I think, an awareness of some of the things I talked about in the past. But this will be the 8th time in the United States, and it's going to rain down on the nation. And isn't that exactly the similarities of what we're seeing? And I don't believe by fact that America has, not going into that type of scenario, but that America has always been the number one. I don't believe that. I believe that America has possibly been maybe number two, number three, as far as the elite, the power of, but the element was allowed to be presented to for purpose of infliction and different things. And now suddenly we're getting warnings, for people to prepare for this next coming of, which in a way I think you were just describing.
Well, it is. It's the coming. And we believe that we are solar, so we believe that we're powerful enough to trigger the sun. So what have we been having? The last 2 years since us being in the public eye, I'm not saying it's us, but we've seen huge shifts in ET, angel, astrology. They're all starting to work together. This is what they want. They want us to all work together. This is the communications we get from not only from ETs and beings, but the giant ones on the land, the Yowies, the Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them, the Fae, the wild animals, whales. We get the same information. Take it all, bring it all into you and work it together. They're getting us ready because we're all lifting, we're creating huge solar flares. The solar flares and the law of attractions bring the meteors closer, so the rain is going to be from these meteors and comets going to be great. But if you go into the great unprepared, well, this causes issues in your temple. We already we have some belief systems that might shock a lot of people, but this is important to take care of your body. These things are there before us to heal us as well. Most of the wildflowers, or in Australia they call them weeds, they are there to help you. They're there. One thing I haven't really spoken about is you'll see in all so many texts and ancient hieroglyphs and petroglyphs, they carry a bag or a handbag or an ark.
Right.
It's a medicine bag.
Well, there's a lot of theories on that, but thank you
Yeah,
for sharing
it's
yours.
a
I get it.
medicine bag. They collect the herbs. They use the herbs to clean themselves ready for the great, so that they could download the information, so it wouldn't harm their body or cause discomfort or disease in others. And so, again, the cleaner you can get your body and your mind, because again it comes back to the power of observation. It's an imprint. Every time you observe something, it's an imprint. So you're stamping it on yourself. So this is one of the practices we said to the children. We wouldn't allow them to watch a lot of TV. We would be selective of what they watch. So they didn't have all the really scary movies that, or video games or things like this, because they're all programmed to program us.
Yeah, it's evident. I mean, whether you look at it on the great boob tube, or just walk out into the public domain, or Google Earth some things, it's um, an ongoing system of a new level, of a new norm. And the examples are being placed and set forth. And to me, in my mind, the element, the best way I guess I can put it is, there's going to be in this life only a way forward. And that is going to be created no matter what we think. And people who want to stay, and I used to look at this in ways of like, oh, I'm so used to the old system and now they upgraded it and it's a mess. But if you don't take the steps to step through it, you don't get to the next level of whatever to keep up with it and to understand it. You'll be lost in time, basically.
Well, this comes back to what you said before. Like, why didn't they tell me all this back then? but you had to go through all these experiences in a human form before they wanted you to do all that first before they give you this. Because why? Because it will make more. And so you got to go through the steps to get to that.
What do you think
So
that is? That's the most, I think, important question we have in front of us. Oh, don't worry about that little bit of noise. It's
uh,
perfectly fine. We're families. We're all
our
we're all
family are all waking up. So
yeah, it's I
yeah.
understand. I understand. What do you think that is that we're going to reach? What this
What
new development of everything that's being supplied to us with this process of everything? What are we going to be like? What type of information can you share that way with us?
well, so the our eldest, we call her, each child we have, we understand their kind of gift or their way of doing their connections. And so Gem's the warrior one, so she brings it through, and whether you want it or not, she just brings it through. So she has quite her dreams great foresights for the future for us. So whenever Gem says a dream, her dreams in particular, we know it's forward. And she said she had a dream. Her boyfriend and her were killing zombies, and she started getting really graphic. And I said, "Look, I don't want to hear any of that." And she said, "So after we killed all the zombies, then it was like Babylon, or it was this perfect world." And I said, "Well, what did that look like? How did that feel in the dream?" She said, "It sucks." She said it was so boring. She said it was actually horrible.
Hmm.
And I said, "That's interesting." And she said it was too. She said it was too perfect that it felt wrong. And and then she said she saw another zombie in the distance, and she almost felt happy because there was contrast.
A
So
balance of negative,
yeah,
positive,
yeah,
yin
like
yang.
up, yeah. So it's a weird dream, right? And a weird way of explaining it, but we don't want a perfect world, but we do want. But this it has been completely out of balance or out of whack for a few decades now,
So
maybe longer.
we could call that. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and that's what we're living within, and that's the big divide in many ways.
Yeah,
And I think people have looked at all the elements that have been supplied, especially in the last 10 years, where a new development of a new everything structurally. Uh, Examples and symbols changing of modernizations with modernizations, but still substantiating themselves to always be there to be reflected upon and reminded of. I think that's part of this new uh, stepping stone as we get to this new level that some people may call it higher consciousness, that we need to get there. And all I can say is to a lot of people is buckle up. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun, but we'll manage to do it. And once that does happen, we will then be able to reflect upon how we can create our own individual normalcy, because we are going to see things that are never, in my mind, especially over the last 10 years, maybe 5 years, even more so, of a new element of what we're seeing of ancient times now being brought forth to the present, of things that many people would never even think would be possible.
so again, this stepping stone. So when you go to step, so when we go to step over the river here,
Hmm.
we have to be careful because the water goes up and down. And the moss on the rocks, sometimes you jump on a rock and you don't see the moss and you'll slip. So, and then you could fall into the water and it could be refreshing, or you could fall into the rapids and get sucked down. So each step you take, you jump onto the rock, you regroup, then you look to the next rock, you jump. And so this is where we are now with humanity, right?
Right.
So people say to me, oh, well, I want to have more ET contact. Okay, are you already having it? There's the big one, because sometimes they're already well into it because their curiosity's there. So that's a
Right.
big one, right? Do things in your life to adjust to make it easier for them to come through, because they really don't want to harm. They're there. The same reason we're here is to create. Creation wants to create. Like you said, it doesn't matter if it goes this way or this way. It just wants to keep creating and creating and creating. So where do we know we're going? I don't even think creation knows where it's going. It wants to see where the ones, us, the 1110111, they want to see where the ones take us. There's something about us and how we can do it fast that is really, they're fascinated with us, other beings. There's
Yeah.
something about the human, yeah, they're fascinated with. And I have to say, as I see them look at us, I see the fascination with it too. I'm almost becoming addicted to the fascination of what we do, how we can change. Like we're one of the fastest changes in beings, apparently,
Yeah.
and it's through our imagination and our kindness. They don't call us mankind for no reason. Deep down, we are all that. You know, that's what we are. It's just conflict, contrast, pain, memory, holding on to memory rather than using it. Memory's there for a tool, but if you're using it as an anchor, it becomes your anchor. So this is, look, it sounds all spiritual, right? It sounds all lovey-dovey. It sounds all this, but this is how they say. This is how they say to communicate with them. See, we didn't communicate with any ET or spiritual people. We just had these encounters and these things happen to us, and we just dealt with them ourselves because we were too embarrassed or shy or whatever you want to call it. We just didn't talk to anyone about it because you're just weird. So we had to learn how to, through trial and error, through jumping from one stone to the next, how to do this. So I guess that's probably why when I share the story of our family and stuff, it's so ingrained in me because I'm not sharing anyone else's experience or anyone else's story. These have happened to us, and whether you have doubts, fears, whatever about my story, that's their business to have those opinions and
Right.
thoughts about us. But to me, it doesn't make any difference because I remember exactly how it happened. And we had it. It happened before us. You know, it's happened. We've had it happen metaphysically. We've had it happen right before us, in front of us. We've had encounters where we have them, like and we've had them so many different ways to come out now and share that you can incorporate in your day to day. You
Yeah.
can incorporate it with your family. You can be safe. You can also have fun, and you can weave your way through.
Yeah. And that word, as you said, incorporate, I think that's almost a perfect word of what we are asking for will come to truth. And on the other hand, something else that you said I'd like to reflect on, if we get Mother Earth ticked off enough, it will show us the wrath of its power. Whether it's an essence of its own life of decision, it circulates cycles, and if it's not happy in some way, it seems to, and it could be because of our vibration of imbalances that puts it into that the consequence of a new birth of a new civilization that has to start by sticks and stones again.
Well, this is the other one that's a big one for me is that uh, we are starting a new way, but I also feel like the ways that way's been done, it's been done. But this is the creation, the new one of it, and there is no. It looks. A lot of people call it the apocalypse and all this sort of stuff. It's black because you can't remote view the unknown. That's actually the excitement for me, is that you cannot remote view the unknown. You can remote view to a certain point, but you can't remote view the unknown because it's held in the ones, us, all of us, of how we create it. So I always say to kids, if just say this one doesn't do the calling of this one, I've just stopped creation.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
I
if
listened to some very seriousness things that Ingo Swann used to share on remote viewing and whatnot. And I can't say that I understand it all. I mean, maybe I do remote view, but I do it in my own way. Like I said, there's things that happen in my life that I can't put it entirely all together, but I do try to understand the substance of the energy and the mind, to find the answers the best I can because, uh, I go to sleep, I wake up, I know how to do so. I say this repeatedly to people because I want them to understand. Maybe if you put yourself in that frame of mind, not a frame of mind of fear or consequence, but the ability, giving yourself a positive ability, you might wake up knowing how to fix something you never touched before. Or you use the willingness to open up the panel, you open inside and say, wow, all it is a loose wire, and in many instances, my life's been like that, and it's been more technical like that. And I don't know because I don't remember a lot of elements, and sometimes I do remember dreams. We in some certainties can remember our dreams, and there's been times in my dreams it's like somebody actually took me by the hand, but didn't, and showed me, didn't tell me, but showed me. It's the same where I've had dreams for me where I think I went back in time and I think it was a message being sent to me. And like you, I don't care if people don't want to believe me, but it was factual where I woke up. I didn't wake up. I was in my dream, but I was doing something and I walked over and this is this is the puncher. It's the mirror effect. I looked in the mirror and I saw me. I was not me. I was not this. This was not the vessel I was looking at. I was looking at a different face, but I knew in my heart it was me, and I think I was meant to see that. So I had that moment of what if, what the hell effect, or whatever you want to call it, of learning something. And I could see who this person is in my mind, my mind's eye, even right now. Um, Similar, but not the same. And I thought, wow, this is the high strangeness, of course. And I think strangeness is everywhere. And until we understand that we allow ourselves and give ourselves the ability and freedom to think consciously free enough, we'll experience more. But how's that grab you though? When you go in your dream, you look at yourself, and it's not even you standing there. And I even made motions, like doing things that I understood the mirror should be showing me as a reflection. And it was allowing me to do that, to have all this happen. And here I am with a whole different face. Let's just say the face was different. It wasn't me. I was happy with the face I saw. I was probably a nice, I'll just say I was a nice looking guy. But why was I seeing that and why was it shown to me? Maybe I had thoughts in my mind about who I once was, or so, I don't know. I don't know how to get to that. But how's that grab you?
okay, so can I unpack that one for you?
Oh
So
yeah, take your time.
okay, so
A lot there.
were you in a space that you knew or a space that you didn't know?
I
Like
was in my
with
own
a
home.
mirror. You were,
Yeah, I was in my home, in my element. I just, for some reason, I don't remember why I even at this moment, I don't remember why I looked in the mirror, but that moment will never leave me that I looked in and saw somebody else as me that wasn't me, that
did
I
they have
didn't
the
recognize.
did they have the same clothes on? Or were they in clothes? Like were they
I
in
was all about this, what this was.
the face area?
Yeah.
Oh, um, so so did the eyes look the same?
I was all about the face. I wasn't, the concentration was so baffling. I really can't answer that.
But you
I
knew
was
that
just
you
like,
were familiar, right? So you felt familiar?
in a way, yeah. I wasn't, startled. I was amazed. I was like, what the, but it
Yeah.
wasn't me. But it was, I know in my heart, I could tell you there was a feeling of it saying it was me.
So so you're tapping into the essence of your soul, basically. So or the spice of you. So you've tapped into the spice of you, but the other spice has see now. So everyone thinks, present time or past or anything like this. You possibly could have been seeing future versions of yourself.
Hmm.
And this is one thing that's happened a lot for us and our family and other people that we see in sessions and things. They've had future grandchildren, so their children are triggering future versions of the children coming through. Like it's
Like a premonition.
yeah, but they're actually having like they would class it as a ghost encounters in the house.
Hmm.
And they've got these kids running through their house, playing, calling out mummy, but they're not calling out mummy for the mum. They're calling out mummy for the child because the child will eventually be the mum. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah. Yeah.
so then I say, okay, so why are they coming to you? Why are they doing this? So we then work through the things that they're doing. So you're saying it's about the face. So you faced your face. Like
Hmm.
I've never faced my face in a dream, so I'm quite in awe of this dream. It might
Are you?
come more. Yeah, this dream might come back to me again because I never see my face in dreams. So this is to face your face is is see. It sounds again spiritual, but these are like biblical things. Like if you spoke about this as you imagined and you were talking about it as a prophet, this would be a great story, you see, because it would be something like the burning bush and all these things with Moses and all this. But we've been told it's silly, it's rubbish now. Like don't, that you just got that off a film.
Right. The
Yeah.
cognitive dissonance,
Yeah, because it makes
explosion.
then everyone feel comfortable, right? Because then they don't have to deal with it. And this is what's the next step. The next step, the jumping, is that now all that stuff that we've been suppressing is now just coming like a big tsunami to us. And now you got to deal with it. Now you've suppressed it too much. So now it's saying, now you can tap into this, but you're going to have to help us help you tap into it. And this is why there's so many people coming out in the last 2 years, because we're all here to ease everyone through it, because we're all here together. We are. Like my kids are going to be growing up with your kids, and we're all here together. So one person might more resonate to another, but just if you can't work it out, there are so many out there now, like this show, to assist. When I was working through it, there was nothing.
Right.
There was no internet. There wasn't really internet for me to. The internet was only just coming about. So, and that was my way of having. I had to have it really ingrained in me, and Richard had it ingrained in him that way. And many, like Jordan Maxwell, David Icke, they had it ingrained in them in this way. So, but
Yeah.
now we're coming into an era of mass everything.
Right.
Mass solar flares, mass
Well,
eclipse,
and
mass,
maybe
yeah.
the principle of that scenario was to get us to the point where we could all become more one together. And maybe we were actually, in ways we might think, well, we were guided because it was government and that this was all the big plan. But maybe the big plan was actually narrated some through some other means and methods of consciousness where we developed it, but only developed it because we were seeking each other for disclosure to be able to present it, and now we have mass numbers doing it, bringing it forward. It's no longer the CT. Well, I was the conspiracy terrorist, not the theorist. But that's how I was being looked at. And at some points, I even put up on my thing, because you mentioned David Icke. I put somewhere between David Icke and Alex Jones. And people say, why do you put stuff like that up on your picture when you come onto a show? That's because, it's a gut feeling. It's in some ways, it's been mentioned to me. And I narrate around a lot of subject matter. It doesn't always agree with everybody, but I think the intentions that I have are good. I think the one what you have are especially good, because guidance and subjective consciousness of opinion, it helps everybody elevate to somehow get through today to tomorrow. And that's the most important factor, because uh, people are just disparaged with social anxieties and different things. And I'm not basing it just upon, you know, everything that's surrounding us right now. It's been humanity always. And there's always, as you said, the conflict of the yin and yang, but the balance and being on the fence. And if that doesn't exist, from one side being stronger than the other and the opposition becoming the stronger one than the other one, then there is a scenario problem, because you need to satisfy two sides. You just do. And sometimes there's a winner. Sometimes there's more of a positive, and sometimes there's more of a negative. And you can reverse negative to positive, and you can reverse positive to negative. The system is that's the energy cycle in my mind of how the balance is created. And without it, darkness there, meaning light would have no meaning with it.
So, so we're energy beings. So we're arcing again. So we're the tuning
Soul,
for. We're
soul's
the tuning
arcing.
for. Yeah, we're the tuning for. And you hear many people speak of that we're electrical beings, and so what's been before us is EMF.
Mm,
Yeah, and the magnetics. This is what they're playing with at the moment in us, with the magnetics. They're
right.
playing around with this on us, and it throws us. It throws us out. It throws our animals out. So how do you do it? You respin it. You learn how to work around it. You work how to weave it. You use herbs. You learn how to. You find out where the magnetics are in your house, or the EMF is in your house. You work around these things so that you have the deep sleeps that you need to re-heal through the night, so that you're ready to collect whatever the next day is for you. The other thing I wanted to bring up, because us humans think that it's just us humans going through it, and you and I, before we went live, spoke of the trees. The trees are upgrading, the fish are upgrading, the whales, the animals, our horses, the seeds we plant, they're all upgrading. They are all upgrading. And so the seeds we've been practicing for a few years now. In Australia, they call it you use
Bioengineering?
all the seeds, scrap gardening or something. I don't know what they call it now. I've forgotten. Scrap gardening, or where you
Oh,
use all your seeds basically. So all the food you eat, we keep all the seeds, and
yeah.
we just give them an opportunity to grow. And in this practice, it's a spiritual practice for me, because I need a hand. So every seed that comes across my path, I allow it to grow. So I plant it and I give it the opportunity, and people will say to me, oh, that's genetically modified, that won't grow. I say, well, I'm going to give it a go anyway. I'm
Hmm.
going to see how it goes. We've found with a lot of the genetically modified seeds, the first one doesn't work so good, but it still produces. Maybe not so much, but it
Right.
produces like a seed. The second generation, still it's very weak. Third generation, it reminds itself who it is. How? With
Mm.
water. The akashic,
And
we believe that's akashic records. So it comes
yeah.
back to the self. So it comes back to like having that dream that you said. It faces, it has an opportunity to remember who it is. We're
Yeah, but
finding with the,
why do you think the stunting of everything is so important? Because we over the last 10 years, pine trees are dying everywhere.
yeah,
Certain elements of many species of many things are having very ill effects. I know I'm a wood carver. I used a lot of pine. People were like, "Hey, my pine, my if you come cut it down, you can have all the wood." Well, gee, thanks. I need one block of the wood out of the whole entire tree, and you're telling me cut it down, clean it up, remove all the branches, and that's going to make my. I'm sorry, no.
yeah.
If I can help you and remove some of it, I would gladly do that. But again, there's that unbalance, unevenness. But I do notice, though, that in ways, it seems to me that we are progressing towards a darker age of something that could possibly occur. And again, not to go off this way, but we are preparing, even in your country, deep underground areas of sophisticated matters. I'll just say that. Preparations all around the world, the wealth all around the world are all preparing for almost a doom and gloom, a CLE and ELE, which is an extinction level event. Do you get any feelings or any messages through the ETs that say, or is there anything out there that gives an awareness that we should know about?
Look, there's a lot of topics in there that we just don't bring up because there's enough out there that others speak of that is probably more in depth and more graphic for the ones that really want to hear about that. But the underground, the key word that you just said,
Mm-hmm.
it's the wealth. That's the key word there. Who's creating all that? I'm not out digging holes.
Yeah.
I'm out helping healing my plants, healing my kids. I'm
Yeah.
exercising, I'm grounding, I'm talking to ETs, I'm healing ghosts with speaking with others around the world. I'm not out digging tunnels. I don't need to go and hoard underground. Why do you need to go and hoard underground? Who is who here? What are you hiding from? So who are you hiding from? You're hiding from the masses. And this great apocalypse might not be the apocalypse for us. It might be for somebody else.
Yeah.
And I'm going to
I know
say
where
it
you're pointing
comes,
the finger.
yeah, you know where I'm going. It's going for somebody else. And you know what? We just said this in one interview. They say to us, a lot of space soldiers have contacted us and said, we're worried for your welfare, they're coming to get you. And I said, who would you rather in the public eye? Someone with kindness and compassion, or you want the pitchfork ones?
Mm.
And this is the protection. And we've had major encounters with the elites or the wealthy. After we've said these type words, we have huge encounters from those types to remind us that they actually, even everything that they've done that is not accepted and, is pretty full on what they've done,
Right.
they've showed us samples that they're still human. And I'm not out there to hold them accountable, and I won't. What is and what has is what is, but there'll be others that will. That's what they're worried about. That's what the hiding, the hoarding, the tunnels are for. Because if you've done this for years, you know there's going to so yes, okay, there's this great movement, the great hive, we're all going to enlightenment, yes, we're all being this, but then there's all the ones back here that are still angry, and they're the ones you're going to have to deal with, not me and my family, because we're working on those, we're jumping to the next stone and the next stone, and to enlighten us. We don't need to go there. That's not our journey here, not this time. So we're offering kindness and compassion, understanding, forgiveness, but it doesn't mean I need to hang out with them either, though.
No, I
Yeah,
totally
you
get
get
it.
what I'm saying. You get,
Yeah,
I know
oh,
you get it.
I do, and I understand why you're doing it too. Because in ways I do the same things. And as you said, there are scenarios of ones who will know what to do. And I think that's what we need to stay focused on and rely on, knowing that there's a place for everybody and there are things for everybody and it will happen. It will take, whatever the place is, it will take place. And it won't be by our choice, our time. It'll be something that we'll all be involved in and will probably be right in front of our faces. And I'm sure is well thought out. Many things have been done. It will be just as good to watch it reverse itself. Did I do okay with those words? I tried.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Cool,
because
cool.
it's good. And I look, um, a lot of people when I talk, because I've been talking for our kids. So my interaction has been with the little ones. We have 8. They outnumber us, right? So my
Uh,
language, the way I talk, the way I sound is in a soothing manner for the kids. It's That's how it is. So I shared everything that's happened in society, and I'm talking everything with our kids. I don't hold back with them. They understand everything fully that's gone on.
yeah,
Um,
that's good. I
and
hope everybody utilizes that same type of
it's
structure.
it's not pleasant, some of the stuff, and their family understand, so they understand. Once you come, like Jordan Maxwell said, once you come from an understanding, a balance, a level, even, 11, 1, 1, once you come from this point, then you can have your pure, clear next step from here.
Okay.
But if it's all like this, like if you're in like a Top Gun pilot and the plane's out of control and it's spinning and you can't, you're going to crash and burn.
Right.
And so with this eclipse coming, we're saying what does not serve you is now going to come up from this plasma intelligence, this dust, this spice, whatever you want to call it, that falls on Earth. It does. I'm pretty sure that's what creates the mucus. I mean, it's very confusing because there's so many things that they're spraying in the sky. But uh, this, what does not serve you, will come up. This is what we found for us. So whatever is happening in your body, whatever discomforts you're feeling in your mind, see if you can tap in and address them. Because your body and the universe is not out to get you. It's out to help you, as are these beings that we contact us. They're out to help us become higher breeds because they want to become higher breeds too.
Okay.
But
I
there
want to
are
ask you.
ones out there that don't. There are ones out there that don't.
I was
They
just
would
going there.
rather hang out with us and use us as hosts.
Yeah, I was just gonna. So, are they actually of a physical being, or are they some kind of dimensional, interdimensional? How would we weigh as far as that? Because we're seeing so much paranormal and strangeness, and hearing so many stories. It doesn't matter if it's ghostly, ET, Bigfoot, Dogman, but I mean, many things are existing. I think as we're getting this to this next new paradigm, if you want to call it that, in ways. And as you said, there are good, and you have had contact, but you also know that there is another side. So there's a balance. It seems to go further, not just with what happens on this planet, but it's elsewhere in the universe as well. It's like everybody has their claws in, and at the same time, that there's another side of the goodness of protection, of people or entities who care.
So A lot of people ask, how can I have more ET contact? And I said, well, they know about the other ones. They do. They know about them. They call them some funny names. They call them the slugs in a root word. um, and so when we think of ET, because we've been programmed by Hollywood, we think of them as they have to come this way. And they do come that way. Then there's the ancient alien DNA, the viruses and the parasites.
Okay.
And they follow a lot of mythology. And they are within us. They come in our digestive tract and our reproductive tract. They are super intelligent. Their biggest thing is numbers and more food, more. What's happened to society in the last 2 decades?
Everything you're
Everything
saying,
is
yes.
numbers, 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 numbers.
Yeah.
I've got this many followers. I've got this much money. I've got this much land. More crops.
Superstar,
More this.
supermodel, super,
Everything's
super,
more, more,
super.
more in numbers. It's
Yeah.
all counting. There. See, if you come back to the ones, so this one and your one want to help each other, so we come together face to face, and then we go off, and then we meet other ones. This becomes the binary system, or
Yeah.
the counting system is it's just accumulation, and this is what their beingness does. See, they've served us to this point of humanity. They've brought us to the furthest point where we've become the furthest point from our souls. They've brought us to here, this dark
Yeah.
point. They've brought us to this dark point, and
Yeah.
now their time to go. The ones they've already, a lot of the ones have gone, but the ones that are still here are kind of having tantrums, and this is what you're seeing. They're trying to start wars, they're trying to start bushfires, so they're having tantrums. But they will go because they'll have to, because this is the way it's going. They had their time here. If we have too many of them in us, we become weak because this is the state they need us in. This is what they've been doing to us.
Right.
My kids were the ones that brought this to my attention years ago. Is they said, "Mum, so if they're running the show, why are they making everyone so sick? Because wouldn't they be making themselves sick?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is a really good point. This has been baffling me for years." But if you understand this ancient alien DNA, they need the host to be weak. Because if you're high vibrating, they can't stick on as well. If you're in the sun, they don't like the sun. They come out at night. I mean, they're vampires. Like, it's the same thing over and over again. I go, really? Is it this? Is this it? Is this? And because they're so small, we just think they're nothing. They
Right.
love symbolism. This is what David Icke and Jordan Maxwell spoke about. They get off on symbolism because they feel that sense in us when we see that when our host or our avatar sees symbolism, it triggers them because it makes them feel powerful.
Right. And they try to gain numbers even at anyone's cost. It doesn't matter. And I think when you say bafflement, it's to baffle you, the bafflement, and always to keep you in that state of confusion and to narrate the example of how positivity works for one side versus what the true focus should be for the positive. And people get lost in it and they jump into either the swamp or they jump into the ocean. What would you rather? I'd rather go to the beach than jump into some smirky, deep underground swamp nest. But again, it's exactly what you're explaining in many ways. And that's how I kind of look at it, I guess. So I'm on your team. I'm part of what you. No, I really am. I do a lot of things for a lot of reasons, do a lot of presentations for shows, and sometimes I probably bring up some of the darkest things that I shouldn't. But I think it's an awareness, and I think I value life. I value humanity and its continuance, and our children's continuance, and our children's children's continuance of life and enjoyment and simplicity that has been lost. We've gone to a focal point of different. And I think this is, in a way, as I said again, before, where they never thought in their minds that this would be their own demise, giving us this technology right here.
This is so good. I love how you've said this, because everything that was proving that we were weirdos and crazy is now working in our favor and actually
Right.
becoming the confirmation. And so all these things coming up, these topics, I go, see, see, and now I can also backtrack it on the last 30 years as well and timestamp it, because everything they placed in front of us, now we're going back on it, and I use it as not, I guess, for people that need proof, I guess, that this is the proof. Here's the time. And that was, first of all, when you were in this power of observation, she's crazy. She's had way too many kids. She's been breastfeeding too long. Look at her. She's nuts. Right? But now we're spinning it round and the information is going bang, bang, bang. And they're going, how is this possible? How is this possible? How is this possible? But it feels better than that narrative. It feels better than that narrative. It feels better than that narrative. And this is what we found. People are hearing our story, hearing my voice, and going, this resonates. That just doesn't feel good anymore. I've had enough of this. This actually might have truth. Look how crazy they're acting. You thought I was crazy? Look at that.
Yeah, right.
Really,
Right.
look at that.
Exactly.
Now, this big alien invasion
Hmm.
that everyone and many channels over the years thought this was coming. They did. They
I
warned us
heard it.
about it.
Yeah,
Jordan Maxwell, David Icke, they all said it was coming.
Yeah, don't leave out
It's
Dr. Greer.
They said they will come in. They need your you need
Permission.
to yeah, it's already happened.
I believe that. I totally do. I mean, I've had my own encounter. I don't know what it was, but it happened to me, and it didn't. It happened more than once, and I would say in the past like 12 years has been episodes of things. But my whole life has been episodes of things that I've witnessed. And I think that may have been part of the whole transformation that brought me into the levels of what I do, why I speak the way I speak. Well, what attracts me to you, what attracts me to a show I did last night, and, how it helps people or just creates an element um, of helping one and their own minds have something enjoyable to discuss and to talk about. Not that I want to be an entertainment platform type of person in any way, but I think it's just a release of pressure to where we can all do something that we enjoy together, even if it sounds a little odd that we have this belief or that belief. But, hey, we don't have all the answers, and you have some. You've mentioned things, even Bigfoot today, so there are things. And I do believe that this is something that is here in this dimension that has an ability that we don't understand. And when they want us to know about them, they're going to let us know about themselves even more. And if they're getting help from something else, someone else, and that's part of how the system works, maybe one day soon we'll find out. Hopefully sooner than later, because I know it's driving a lot of people crazy. You know,
Yeah.
people want the answers, and I think that's my determination why I get up, and I'm sure that's part of what your determination has turned into be. We have different things that brought us to this point, but isn't it beautiful that it's happened?
Yeah. Well, these are the alignments. And this is one of the things that they showed us is what will happen is the alignment. So we're the atom again. and there's an alignment, and it becomes the golden compass. So the more alignments we start having with others around, and they can just be a shopkeeper. It doesn't have to be this spiritual person or ET expert. These can be just anybody you meet down the street. The guy that lives across the road, the old man or the old woman that you see in the stores, fishing or something. You're having these alignments with people, and you're being your true you.
Yeah. Is the root to that word, not to interrupt you, I apologize. Is the root to that word alliance? Is there an inflection, some type of connection to it?
The
When
so a lion is being line momento. Being line momento is being in level, so heaven, and memento is that now, which is presence, which gift now, knowing you, knowing now, presence. It's not a projection, and it's not a memory. This is the best way I describe time: projection or memory. It's a
okay.
now. So the memory or the projection, so remote viewing, a dream, or a vision, they really can't tell the difference, what one's what. They can't prove it. No one can. And those are there for tools for us to use and collect on if we need, or it will just sort of come in to our illusion. And then, but the now is the act, which is what we are here to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it all kind of interacts together.
yeah, so this alignment, a lion, the reason they use lion is angle ion. The angle, so the angle, angel, same thing, angle, ion, right angle, it's part of the compass. So in a compass or the cross, religion, the center point, center is understanding the tri of you, the mind, body, spirit. Understanding all these things creates this like golden compass in you. So you become chronos, you become time. Time is not time. Time was never time. Time for the numbers ones was time. So when we say human race is running out of time, it is running out of time. Time is sense. Time is the herb sense. It was used as our senses. That's what time was. It's our sense. So once you create all these alignments, you become the golden compass, you become chrono, so time doesn't matter.
And that's the key.
That's the key. So
Like
that's,
the donkey.
but yeah, the donkey is the carrier.
Okay. And what about the monkey?
The monkey is the marquee. The monkey is it's one of the almost, well, you see the monkey is always in joke. It's the monkey is not our ancestor, by the way, either. It's the flying. It's the fruit fly. It's the ant. That's our closest DNA.
Right.
This is why.
Yeah.
This
I
is
thought
why
it was going to
ant
go
is in
somewhere
all
else.
our words.
I thought in a way it was going to go somewhere else, like see no evil, hear no evil, speak no
Yeah,
evil.
that's a big one. That's a huge one. So you got to say, okay, so the narrative has come from where? That's evil. She's a witch. She's a wizard. That's evil. This is evil. Why is this evil? Why are all our weeds in Australia weeds when all these weeds in Australia cure cancers and all these things?
Right.
Why? Who told you they were a weed? Where's the narrative coming from? Where's
Right.
the apocalypse coming from? Where's the we've got to dig everything underground and go for safety? Who is this coming from? It's not coming from me.
Right. No, I get where you're coming from, though.
Yeah. So you go, okay, so this is why you, okay, collect all this information, collect shows like this is great, this show, because collect shows like this, and then collect another show and another show, alternative media, alternative media, and see what resonates for you. And then the next day you wake up and incorporate something into your day, then see what resonates for you, incorporate, and keep checking in with you. Don't check in with anyone else. Don't check in with, you know, have sounding boards in groups or community or your family if you need to, or check in with other people that are on this, you know, like yourself, and find truth in yourself. The truth is much, the truth is creation. It's the royal law. And it comes to you like those messages and those dreams.
Right.
And we were told not to come out, which I didn't even think we were ever going to come out, by the way. But we were told we will go global in 22 and 23. Now, I didn't understand what the message was in 1997 when we were told this. But I know why now they told us this time, because if we came out any earlier, oh wow, we would just be we would have just been a huge joke.
You think you'd have been ridiculed that bad? I mean,
Yeah.
you had fabulous people out there pushing so many of the things that you brought up. One well, many young ladies, but one just put out a new book that kind of talks about this, so many similarities that we covered. Laura Eisenhower, and she's always been, looking at the alignments and just certain things. Quite honestly, everything that we probably touch base on right now. And she's been talking about them for years. So maybe I guess everybody could have a different element of time,
Mm.
and it works different for everybody because we are restricted to time. As you say, it may not actually exist, but it's the element of it that does. And
Yeah.
then with that, you must take and wait and use the numeral numbers to get to that point of, I guess, of whatever that is. But I'm glad it's worked for you. I want to say hello to a few people here. Cindy's Mitch has been in there. Ernie's been on today. We had a few people come in, but that's okay. I'm sure we'll have great results at the end of the day. I don't usually, and like, do Sundays, and I thought, well, that's kind of like cool. It's kind of like take me to church. I want to learn.
Oh,
It's a different meaning of the church for me, but I have my belief of, and we're not going to get into that. And
day
it's
of
probably
reset. It's
it's probably
the, well, Sunday is the day of reset.
yes.
So soul set. So the rise and set of the soul. So this is Sunday. It's a great day. Thank you.
And for you, it's Monday. You're living in the future out there.
Yeah.
Maxine, hi. Just wanted to make sure I said it. Beth, hello. How are you? Beth went on a date last night. She's a friend of mine. I'm glad for her.
Ah,
Yeah, we have a lot of people came through between different variations of where we are.
yeah.
Nevertheless, isn't it, like you said, so amazing, the speed of light and what it can do, and the message that we made today? Because I think in everything that we do every day, we deliver a message, and I hope it helps to unify people and keep them strong, gives them comfort. Um, we're coming up to nearing the 2 hour mark, and I know you have plenty
Oh,
of a day and you might want to take a cat nap. Would you like to tell everybody a little bit about how they can get in touch with you on your channel? And I'll keep posting what I can, and you can tag my page whenever you want. I really want to support everybody as we go into the future of everything, because everything is important to me to get out to the public the best I can. So please share how people can get in touch with you. And again, I can get you on the 10o'clocktalks.com scenario situation. I'll have you on YouTube, but share your own pages.
we have we have a website set up called spinbeings.com. In here, you'll see videos. You can go in and we we have links to the video interviews, but we also have on our YouTube channel, which is just Spin Beings, just shorts. We have made little shorts of our interviews and our happenings and our experiences. We have had a lot of ghost and ET and craft encounters and military, and we just share how to incorporate it in a different way with your family and how to make it work in your day-to-day, because like after this I'm going to wake up and have a pile of dishes to do.
Mhm.
Like it's all that's great, that's all great, that we've just seen a UFO at 4 a.m, but now what? And so we just show ways to use what's happened in your day to day, and it works. It really does work. More so since Valentine's Day. Oh my gosh! And I'll bring out videos on this as we've let it unfold in our family, because a lot of it's so personal. It's so personal. It's it's in your face. You know, it's your body. A lot of it's very personal things that happen to all of us, and so we're just sharing it so that you can not copy it or anything, but just take it and go, maybe this is what's going on with my kid, or maybe this is what's going on with my grandfather, or maybe this is what's going on with my wife, or maybe this is what's going on for me. And we found through this sharing, which is what we used to do, we'd sit around the campfire and we'd all share with the grandmothers and the grandfathers and the great uncles. We'd share experiences and we'd learn and grow all together as a community. And this is what they've done, is they've turned us off and kept us busy with all the other stuff. And they've made us forget about the family. So who's better to come out and talk about all the family stuff? You get the mother
Well,
of eight.
yeah, and you too.
Mother of eight comes out
Isn't it
and
isn't it fascinating though that you were out taking pictures of all these different types of people and whatnot, and now how the connection of what you're doing shines through it in ways. I mean, that's
yeah.
just magnificent, you know?
Well, they know. They've seen my eyes, and the same with Richard. So we've seen each other. Like your mirror dream,
Hmm.
that's happened. So there's that they know, they've seen the truth in us too. So we've seen them, and it's a powerful. That's why I'm saying this dream you had is it's a powerful thing. So yeah. So there, looking in the eye of another is it's a gift. We've forgotten, but it is.
Yeah.
Because when you meet someone else, when you see their eyes, you're instantly in their field. Whether they want it or not, and whether they're in acknowledgement of it or not, or in the witness of themselves or not, it doesn't matter. You're in their field, you're in their field, I'm in your field. So, yeah, this has been it's been a great conversation. I love sharing my story, but
Hmm.
I love having a discussion. This is what I love, because this is what we do with our family and people we meet, and my husband does, and we just love having a discussion, a back and a forth, a back and a forth. Like it's
Yeah, I think it creates an adrenaline rush of a different kind for me. I don't want to put people under pressure coming in and just having contradictional moments and things. If there's importance to bring up, you bring up. You let everybody answer. You weigh in, debate an opinion, try to find the analogy of it. I think that's the best method to the madness, no matter what you're talking about. And I do that. I just try to improvise a scenario of what is on the other side of what we're looking at, because there's controversy everywhere and we need to eliminate that part of it. It's been very enjoyable for me too to be with you. I totally had a great time, and I want you to know that I'll support you any way that I can. But I don't think you'll need me. I think you're going to reach places and pinnacles in your life that because there's people that will seek for you, And I think that's just the element of how the world works. And I see nothing but greatness to come, and your calmness in your voice. It's like you're the seed starting to just flower.
Well, this dream you keep saying is this is what you're doing. You're helping others face their faces of them.
Mm.
And maybe this dream is the projection of your show. Like you're facing, you not only face you, but you're helping others to face their faces of themselves. Like you reminded me today, the happening for me, like I'll share with our family. They'll say, so how did your life go with Michael? And I'll say, well, it went really well. He's lovely. He's got the piercing blue eyes. He's a great creator of woods. And he also helped me, he reminded me of that moment when I first met Neff.
Mm.
And so thank you for that, because if I didn't meet you, I wouldn't remember that. So now I know that. So now I have an understanding of that. So it was educational.
Yeah, it's funny, but this is exactly how we benefit from each other. No, that's just my thought of theory on it, but I have many for many things. I can be complicated, but I really think I'm a pretty kind soul. I just want the best for everything, and I'll walk through the difficulties to protect people from the worst of it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I hope I didn't lose some of your audience with the, you know, but it's not meant to.
No,
It's meant
no,
to just it's just meant to bring it up. Yeah,
yeah,
just meant to bring
no.
it up.
You know
So.
what? Everything comes in time as it does, and it's not always the impact, but it's the importance. It's the importance of the message that does come across, and believe me, I've seen things where I thought, "Oh my God, today where was everybody?" And I wake up the next morning, and it's like, holy cow. What happened? Was everybody up partying with us last night? And then there's more interaction after the show being typed into stuff. And it's like, wow. But it's nice on every level that people at some point in time will be able to see it. And I think the most important factor is it may not even matter, but as long as one ear hears us, that's the important focus.
Oh, it's
Changing the
the
one
one,
ear, it's
the
the one.
one.
I always
Yeah.
say that to people. It's always been part of a slogan, and we live in the world of symbols and slogans, and make America great again. I mean, things over and over and over reused by so many people. A lot of people don't realize that in ways that it has been used before.
Well,
But
they knew we were coming. They knew the ones were coming. That's why they
yeah,
prophesized about now. They knew the ones were coming. Gifts, chosen ones, gift ones, blue ones, hoppy ones. They knew we were all coming. And it's because they knew this moment would come. And this is us. So don't worry about what the narrative says. Just know you're the one of you.
yeah.
And you're the only one of you. And this is, if you keep tapping into that, no matter how hard your day gets, and trust me, we've had some really hard days, really hard stuff. Just come back to that. Just say it's that for that moment. Go to bed, rise and set again the next day, and you're the one again. Rise, yeah, yeah. And then you'll be okay. You'll be okay.
I think people are starting to find that. I do. I truly do. So, you know, um, you're going to play an important part. I just got this gut feeling, you know, and it might not be for the whole entire world, but it's going to be a focal point of a large amount. That's all I'm going to say. It's just a gut feeling I have. And usually when I say things like that, they come true. And I hope that this does. I hope I'm not over analyzing it. I'm hoping that I'm making a really, and I don't want to use the P word prediction. I just think I think I'm on the money here. And I have nothing but the best at heart for you and into the future. I hope we can do something again in the future. Maybe you'll even write a book. Maybe next time Richard will come on with you. And I do believe a little bit that he looks like Jordan Maxwell. I don't know. I saw him in a flash on one of your videos, and I thought to myself, "My God, did I just see Maxwell for a second, or was my eyes playing trickery on me? And I meant to go back and look at it again, but there was some type of resemblance in movement, or as we say, the one, the face, the thing, you know. And I think, you know, there's people everywhere that have certain characteristics of everybody else on this planet. It's, you know, you could see somebody that, you know, and even in, I've said this not to be joking, but let's just say we're using cultures of color. I seen a black guy who looked like a white guy I knew, but he was just had a different skin tone. And I've seen that before in my life, where I've seen people and said, wow, if that dude was white, he would look like da 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 da. If that dude was in reverse. And in my head, I see these things like that. And I don't know if I'm
Well,
over analyzing, but
no. So it's interesting because you said Jordan Maxwell, because he came through for me at the same time in 2012 or 11 as David Icke, and Dolores Cannon came through as well. She's a
oh,
spiritual, and
great.
Dolores Cannon. The reason I came across all those people was she looks exactly like my grandmother. She
Oh,
sounds like,
really?
she probably looks like everyone's grandma, but there was something in her voice, the way she pauses, the way she blinks, the way she sits. I'm going, oh my gosh, that's my grandmother. And like you said, it's like they carry this little speck of them in them.
Yeah.
You know, like a little piece of them is in them as well. So
Well,
I agree with
I
that.
think that's that universal one, hon. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we still see people that grow 8, 9 feet tall. It's they call it giantism, but is it really, or is it the fragment of not evolution, but the product of creativity and us being the creators?
Oh,
Um, and
we got a couple of them. Our kids keep growing. I'm like, they're gonna have to. How much food are we gonna have to feed them? Because they
you
keep
better do
getting
more
bigger.
gardening. Yeah, you better do
Yeah,
more gardening. But it's been
yeah.
a pleasant afternoon with you. Thank you. We're coming up to the 2 hour point. This is
Thank you.
usually my deadline. I make promises to myself on that part. You know, I could go for 4 hours, but I try to limit myself to 2 hours, and it gives me a greater sense of consciousness, you know, throughout the rest of the day instead of, you know, putting myself into a slag mode. And I'm not. I'm actually more energetic right now, having this talk with you. You put my mind in a great place. Thank you for that. And again, as I said, I hope you'll consider coming back in the future. And it's not for the mass and numbers that we're looking for. We're looking for the power of the messages to be given that we can share with everybody.
Yeah, the other ones.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael, so much. You're
And
lovely.
thank
You're just
Richard and the
lovely. Thank you.
family for sharing you with us. We really appreciate it. So, everybody, thank you
Yeah.
for coming in today. And if you're just seeing this, whether it's in the morning, the afternoon, tomorrow, in the future, a day ahead or a day behind, depending upon where you live in this great, beautiful world, stay positive, stay focused. This is America Disclosing. What's in disguise? Today with me was, remember the name forever, Elsa Dillon, abductee, contactee, with a lot of messages. And we're going to have to get to more of the messages in the future. Thank you for being with me. I appreciate you. And good night, everybody. Take care.